Our first topic, our first MCQ for today's discussion is based on this news article which appeared on the page number 10 of Indian Express. So this news article is regarding the death of first Pompe patient in the country, right? So in this news article, you have to know about what is this disease, Pompe disease. If we talk about Pompe disease, it is a rare disorder, a rare genetic disorder. And why we have taken this topic is that because UPSC in the prelims examination in the science and tech section ask various questions regarding diseases. Okay, like in the year 2017, we found this particular question which was regarding the spread of Zika virus, right? So let's solve our practice question regarding Pompe disease. But before solving it, let's know some facts about this disease. So Pompe disease, it is a rare genetic disorder, right? And this is a genetic disorder which is this genetic disorder is an autosomal recessive disorder. Now what does this term mean? This term means that this disorder will only be passed when there are defective genes in the father and in the mother of any offspring. That is, the defective genes have to be passed from both father as well as mother, and only then this offspring may be affected by this genetic disorder. Okay, so it is autosomal recessive disorder. And the other thing is that this is a genetic disorder because of which there is a suppression of an enzyme. So there is deficiency or suppression of an enzyme which breaks down glycogen. So as you know, glycogen is a complex polysaccharide or it is a complex carbohydrate, right? So if we talk about simplest carbohydrate, you have heard about this term glucose. Glucose is the simplest carbohydrate, right? And what is glycogen? Glycogen is a polymer which is made out of linking various glucose chains, right? So it makes glycogen. Now what happens is that because of this disorder, there is a defect in the gene of that person, and because of which there is a deficiency of an enzyme which is used to break glycogen, right? So when this disorder sets in, the person may not be able to break down glycogen, right? And because of which glycogen would be stored in the various part of that person. Basically glycogen is stored in liver and in other muscles, and because of which what happens, there is a progressive muscle weakness in that person, there is difficulties in mobility to that person, there are respiratory complications, and there are cardiac implications for that person, right? So let's solve this question now. The question says that with reference to Pompe disease, consider the following statement. The first statement is, it is a rare autosomal recessive disorder. Now this is a correct statement as we already discussed that this is an autosomal recessive disorder. The second thing is that the second statement is, it is caused by a deficiency of an enzyme responsible for breakdown of amino acids. Now this is an incorrect statement, as this disorder is caused by deficiency of an enzyme which is responsible for breakdown of glycogen and not that amino acids, right? So as the question asked, which of the statement given above is or are correct? Our correct answer would be option A, one only. Now let's move on to our next MCQ for the day. This MCQ is inspired by this news article which says that Garba dance gets UNESCO tag of intangible cultural heritage. Now Garba is a devotional dance which is generally performed in the state of Gujarat, and this dance is performed on the occasion of Navratri, which is the celebration of female goddess Durga, which is a festival related to worshipping female deity. And now this dance form Garba breaks all the social boundaries. That is, this dance form is inclusive, and it is inclusive of gender, it is inclusive of social caste, it is inclusive of even religion, and this is a intangible cultural heritage, right? So this has been included by UNESCO in its list of intangible cultural heritage. Now We have taken this question because folk dances are important for our UPSC prelims examination. And in the year 2014, we saw this question in which there were various dance formed and they had to be matched with their particular state. So let's solve this question, which says that consider the following with a state with reference to heritage and culture of India. So there are various cultural heritages. These are Raman, Daskatiya, Garba, and Theyam. The question says that how many of the above cultural items are on the UNESCO's list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Now, let's see this list. Currently, there are 15 such cultural items from India which are included in this list. These are Kudiyattam, which is a Sanskrit theatre, and this was the first entry to this list. And other such cultural items include Ramlila, the tradition of Vedic chanting, Ramad, Muddietu, Kalbelia, Shau, Buddhist chanting of Ladakh, Sankirtana, traditional brass and copper craft of Thateras in Punjab, Yoga, Navroj, Kumbh Mela. The last such entrant was Durga Puja in the year 2021, and the latest entrant becomes Garba, right? So, if we solve this question, the correct answer would be Ramad and Garba. So, our answer would be only 2, as Daskatiya and Theyam are not included in this list, right? Now, let's move on to our final MCQ for the day, and this is inspired by this news article which appeared on The Hindu. The news article is regarding the role of special inquiry committees of Parliament. Okay, so special inquiry committees can be formed by Parliament to investigate into matters of public importance. And one such example of a special committee is the Privileges Committee of Parliament, right? So we have framed a question on the Privileges Committee in Lok Sabha, right? And now why we framed this question is that because UPSC in the prelims examination has asked questions regarding parliamentary proceedings, right? So before solving this question, which is regarding the Privileges Committee in Lok Sabha, let's first understand this committee, right? Now, as the name suggests, privileges. So what are privileges? Privileges are certain kinds of rights, certain kinds of immunities that are granted to the member of parliament. These can be granted to the member of parliament, both the MPs in Lok Sabha as well as in Rajya Sabha, right? So regarding it, there can be a privileges committee can be formed to inquire into any such instances of breach of privileges which has occurred, right? So in this sense, there are certain privileges or certain rights and immunities which are granted to the MPs, okay? And this is a list of such privileges, and these privileges can be collective privileges which can be granted to the group of member of parliaments, and these can also be individual privileges, right? So let me read out a few for you. Like, there are collective privileges like Parliament can make rules to regulate its own procedure and conduct of business and to adjudicate upon such matters. The other privileges are like Parliament can exclude strangers from parliamentary proceedings and can hold secret sittings, right? Like Parliament has right to publish its reports, debate and proceedings, and also the right to prohibit other from publishing the same. And in the same lines, there are individual privileges also, like there is a freedom of speech in the Parliament, and in that sense, no member of Parliament is liable to any proceedings in any court for anything he or she has said or for any vote given by them in Parliament or its committees. In this sense, there are individual privileges regarding freedom of speech, regarding protection of arrest in the rules, and regarding civil laws. And there is also exemption from jury service. So these privileges are mentioned here. You can read it by pausing the video, right? The thing is that in case of breach of these privileges or these rights or immunities given to these MPs, there can be a parliamentary committee which can inquire upon this privilege, right? Now let's solve this question regarding privileges committee in Lok Sabha. The first statement says privilege committee in Lok Sabha consists of 10 members. This is an incorrect statement, as the privilege committee in Lok Sabha consists of 15 members. And if we talk about privilege committee in Rajya Sabha, it consists of 10 members. For Lok Sabha, it is 15 members, right? The second statement says the members of privilege committee are nominated by the speaker. Yeah, this is a correct statement. In case of Lok Sabha, the members of privilege committee are appointed by the speaker. And in case of Rajya Sabha, the members of privilege committee are appointed by the chairman, right? The third statement says, the committee cannot recommend the expulsion of a member from the house. Now, this is an incorrect statement, as if the breach of privilege is ascertained, then in that case, any member, the committee can recommend the expulsion of any member from the house, right? So this is an incorrect statement. Now, as the question asked, how many of the above statement is or are correct? Our answer would be only one. I hope you understand.